Alright, so in the previous part we have seen how to communicate using input, so communication from parent to child, where we had a child component called user component that has a property interpolated called name, and that property is particular because it has the input decorator preceding it, and which allows us from the parent to dynamically pass a name, here in this case Simran, using the same name that is the name of the property, and the name is then comes to the property and is interpolated there, and we can see it in the template. So that's about communicating with input. The next step is to communicate with output, which is the other way around. When an event is happening from the child, how to emit it from the child so that we can handle it in the parent, as we have seen in the event handling part. Okay, so let's move on to the next part. Perfect. So what do we have here? So we have again a child component. So here it's explicitly called child component. Okay, before it was just called user component because it handled users. So child component, and then we have an app component, which is the parent, right? So the app component refers to the child using app child, which is the selector, as you have seen here, of the child, right? And it is showing a paragraph here all the way down, right? And then after it is interpolated, the length, it is interpolating, sorry, the length of an items array. Okay, so which is here a property here, new array. So here it's a way to initialize an empty array in TypeScript by using the new keyword, okay, to construct an object from the class array. So we're calling the array constructor. So for people who are not comfortable with TypeScript or object-oriented programming, so this is a way to use construction. All right, and we have a method here that is not being called. The idea is to handle an event from the child that will call this method, okay, that will trigger the call to this method add item, and that event will have some data, okay, and we will add that data to this array. And since we are interpolating here the length of the array, we should see the length increase here, okay. So for now, nothing is connected now yet, so we don't have any event handling, and we don't have any event emission. So what do we have in the child? So we have some styles here, okay. We have that are applied to add some styling to the button that is here, because you can see that the CSS class on which we apply the style is the button one. All right, and we have in the template a button, okay, which the CSS class that you see here, btn for button. And we have, since the button is already a native Angular element that already supports the click, so we are getting an event from the button, okay, and which is a click here, like we have seen with the mouse over and mouse out in the previous in the event handling tutorial. Here there is the click event also, that's part of the button. So the information of the click is only known by the child component, okay. So we want to pass it back up, all right, to the parent, okay, because the parent doesn't have the button, it's the child that has the button. All right, so they will talk to us a bit same as they have done with communicating with an input. They will talk to us about the syntax. So the syntax to emit an event, so we create a property. In this case, it's called, for example, the example they're giving here, increment count event, right? And we create it using a calling the constructor event emitter that we see that we have already imported for us from Angular core. All right, and they have also imported the output decorator here, all right, that we apply on that property, same as we use the input. In this case we use the output because we want to output data from the child to the parent. All right, and for the event emitter, it supports generic. So in this case, to tell it that we are emitting an event of type number, okay, because it's an increment count, so obviously it's related to a number, so it's convenient to have type safety on the event. All right, and the way we trigger the event, in this case, for example, they would have an on-click method on some button or whatever that will increase a counter that will be part of the child component. I mean, it's not yeah, it would increase it, and then that increment count event will pass the latest value of that count, okay, using the .emit method of this class, right? Because we created an object, an instance of that class, so we can call the .emit, and then we pass to it the value, which has to be a number because we defined it that it has to be an event emitter of number in the generic type. All right, so this is an example with the increment, but in our case it's not, there is no such thing as incrementing a number or a count. In this case it is an array with items that we are going to handle. So we have a button, and we have the add item method that is already implemented to handle. All right, so they are asking us to create an output. All right, they're giving us the name and they want it to be of type string. All right, they are not telling us to initialize it with an empty value, but to give it a type string. No, actually it will be it's not a string, it's an event emitter, so meaning this way to give the string as the generic part of the event emitter. All right, so for that, let's come in the child component. This is where we put the output, obviously. Add item event, all right, equals, as we have seen, new event emitter. All right, we call the constructor and we define it that it will be an event emitter of string. All right, so this is just a property. We need to mention that for Angular that this is an output, so that we can handle the event in the parent component. Perfect. So now we want to emit an event using this output event emitter every time there is a click on the button that it contains, right? So here we will use the this prefix because this is a property of this instance. All right, this dot add item event, okay, and since it's an event emitter, it implements the emit method. All right, and they want us to pass this turtle as the data of the event. Okay, perfect. So now every time a click is going to happen in the child is going to emit that turtle to the parent. But we see that actually nothing is happening. The array of turtles is not getting increased. The reason is because we are not yet handling the event from the child, right? So that's what they will ask us to do later. So they will tell us in the app child element here to handle the add item event. So it has to be the exact same name as we have seen for the input. The exact same name of this property has to be used here. All right, with the parentheses instead of the square brackets for the input. All right, and here we'll tell it to call the add item method. All right, and what we do is that in the add item we need to pass the $events. Okay, so it's a bit different from the event handling that we have seen here, where we were not dealing with the content of the event itself, which was the mouse over and the mouse out. Here we have some data because we had the turtle that was passed. We could have dynamically something different than the turtle, but in that case it's passing towards the turtle. So we pass the full event so that we can get its value. We pass it to that method. So that method will get that item, which is the event itself. All right, it will add the item to the array of items, so then the length should be increased every time. So let's test it now, and we can see that the length of the array is getting increased because we are adding the item there. So now we're sure that everything is working perfectly fine. So here it's just maybe asking for a column, or I don't know why it's complaining about what. Add item, maybe those spaces. Yeah, so we are in the child here. The child has a button. The click event of the button, we are handling it under the add item. Okay, there is no need for any dollar event here because we just need to know that the click happened. Okay, when the click happened, we are calling the add item. The add item will tell this add item event, that is an event emitter of string, to emit a turtle. All right, it has to be an output so that it can be handled by the parent. In the parent, we are handling the add item event, and every time the add item event happens, we are calling the add item with the value of the event, because we want to have the data, which was the turtle in that case, passed to that method. Then the method is called, we are adding the item to the array of items. Okay, and we are seeing here that the length of the array increases. Okay, we can even see the array itself, as we have seen in previously with that array of users that had an ID and a name. We are able to see, we can even see and interpolate the full items array. So for that, let's just copy this. Let's put it anywhere in the template, for example, before the template. So if we do this, it should just show an array of objects. Template, website, items here. Yeah, it's not showing it. So yeah, because it's not an array of objects, or it's an array of string. That's why it's not showing. But for that, we'll use that. Let's use import the JSON pipe from common, and let's pipe JSON the array of items, and we can see that we have an empty array. All right, and when we click on add item, we see that the length of the array increases, and we are getting the value and everything. So here we are even seeing that we are even seeing the value inside the event, because before, the turtle that you are seeing here is not the turtle that was passed from the child, is the turtle that are showing here. Okay, turtles all the way down, and then showing you the increase of the number in the array. However, we have seen that actually the child is really emitting a turtle here. So the advantage here of completely seeing the array, we can clearly see both that there is an information that was passed, meaning an event that we are adding to the array, but also the value of the event itself. Okay, which is the turtle. So as we mentioned before, like the pipe JSON will be covered later, but I like to take this shortcut and use it here because it allows to easily understand how to debug the things. We have seen it with the parent and child in under component composition with the users where we're displaying the name, etc. So or no, sorry, with the control flow with the for, because we're looping over the array, so it was convenient to understand how whether we have the proper values in the template before looping over them. It's very convenient to debug issues in the template. All right, so yes, so that covers actually that covers the tutorial regarding communication with output. The next tutorial is about differable views.